follow-on video where we're going to talk about the Battle Manager. Again, this will be linked in the description. This code, that way you guys can just download it and copy it, whether you want to copy and paste it or type it outright. I just didn't think it was fair to you guys to make you guys have to go through and type it all out after I had you type like a 30-minute video or whatever it was doing the initial Battle Manager. So let's go ahead and break this down. So our first three here are some variables that we had already before. These exports are going to tell Godot where to go after the battle and which scenes to spawn for the player and the enemy. The enemy scene is set in the inspector, so we'll battle. So each battle we can pick a different enemy if we want to. We'll probably change that so that we can later on, so that we have a definition of enemies and have it choose from randomly. But for now, this is going to work for what we need. Keep in mind that if the enemy scene is empty, the battle will run with no enemy, but you'll see an error message that we will print later on. Next, we have our turn state machines, which we did in a couple videos ago. Alright, this enum tracks where we are in the turn loop. We only show the action menu during the player turn, and we're only going to let actions run if we're in that state. Okay. So let's see. Think of it like a traffic light, right? If it's green, then it's going to be the player's turn and we'll be able to do things. If it's red, it'll be the enemy's turn and we won't be able to do anything. Next, we have our battle references. These are simple placeholders that, for now, so the loop works visually. We'll have HP for both sides, attack power, and the player defending flag to have the damage that you'll later place these with your own combat stats, and the ones that we created in like the third video, maybe the second video, I think it was. So, but for now, we have that. Alright, so the next section down here is where things start really changing. Okay. We have our action menu reference. Okay, it's just going to be up here. Alright, we have our player attack animation. So if we go to the player battle character, where is it? And we go to their animation, we can see that they have an animation there called one-handed, basically, underscore melee, underscore attack, underscore chop, and that's what I reference here for it. In the on ready, we defer two things: hooking the menu and then spawning the battlers. We connect the menu's action chosen signal to our handler and print the path so you can confirm that it's hooked. We'll keep the menu as a sibling canvas layer called action menu. Okay, we're going to use call deferred so that the siblings exist before hooking, and then the signal name action chosen is going to be passed as a string in our action menu, right? The signal. The on ready path up here is just our path to the where's the battle scene, to our action menu. Again, the $sign is harmless. That's just showing the location to where to look for. Okay, now we're going to get to our spawn routines, which is going to be here, function spawn player and battle and begin battle. All right, so this set of code here is we're going to spawn both sides and then explicitly set the player battler and the enemy battlers. The await calls will give Godot a frame to register the nodes and the transforms before we position them. After the setup, we'll move from start into the player's turn. Okay. From here, we're going to go into the player's turn, which is going to be set here in our start player turn. As soon as it's the player's turn, we're going to set that state and tell the menu to appear. The menu scene itself keeps the UI hidden by default and only shows when we call the show menu function here in the action menu script. Okay, and then once it's the player's turn, then we'll have the start enemy, the enemy turn afterwards. Okay. From here, we have our handling menu selection, which is going to be this one, the on action chosen. We're going to print the action in current state for debugging purposes. Everything will show up here in the output, and I'll show you that once we press play. But we're going to print, like I said, we're going to print the action in current state for debugging. We're going to be able to guard against accidental clicks outside of the player turn, and then run the key action here, right? So we're also going to wait for the player's attack animation so that it completes before the enemy attacks. That way the enemy is not attacking as soon as the player attacks, right? Because that just would not look natural. So that's why we have the enemy await here before we start the enemy's turn. So this is going to be the player attacks, right? So here, player attacks, player defend, and then the enemy, where is it? Start enemy turn is right here. Alright, so the enemy turn is paced by a short delay. Then we await the enemy's attack lunge, because right now we just have that sphere. So it's just going to lunge forward so that we know that it's doing its attack for right now before returning. And then once it returns back to its original starting point, then it's going to go back to player's turn. This awaiting here guarantees some clean sequencing that we're going to need for these style of games. Alright, so let's move into the player's attack and defense. So the player will use its animation, like I said, the one-handed melee attack chop. Then we're going to play it and await the finish. If not, we'll do a tiny fallback lunge. So if you don't have an animation, it's going to do like a little lunge, basically, is what I'm saying here. To break it down, right? Because I don't know if you guys have animations on your enemies or if you're using the same assets as me. So I wanted to build in this lunge for those of you that haven't done any animations, don't have animation ready assets. This will give you that opportunity to be able to at least follow along with this part of the video. The defending is very simple. It's a one-line status and just changes the flag so that the next enemy hit is halved. And then we'll clear it once the enemy attacks. Right. Let's go down to our enemy attack. So our enemy attack, since it's just a sphere right now, like I said, we tween it forward towards the player and then back. And then we apply damage. If the player is defending, then the damage should be halved, and we'll test that out here shortly. Alright, so as we go through and we check for victory or defeat, right, when either HP is going to hit 0, we're going to switch the state and head back to the overworld after a short delay. Eventually we'll change it to, or adjust it so that when the player is defeated, that it will trigger game over. But for right now, we're just going to have it both of it gonna do the same. Okay, we'll be able to extend this later for treasure or loot experience or any sort of post-battle UI integration. Next, we have a few helpers just to help get things along. We have are get underscore anim player, which looks for the animation player either as a direct child of the battler or anywhere underneath the battler. Then we have our lunge function, which is the backup in case you don't have any attacks animations on your player. So what it's going to do is it handles the forward and back tween of the player for a nice little punchy feel. Just a quick towards the enemy and back where it was. Alright. So now that we've explained all that, let's go ahead and I guess we'll just test it out. Right? So as you can see, I added an omni light because it was really dark in the scene during the testing. I adjusted the player HP and MP. So let's go ahead and look at our output real quick. We can see it's already connected to the action menu, which is what we want. Right now the battle state is 0 and it's telling us that it's the player's turn. So if I attack, the player plays his attack animation, then the enemy does, and you're going to see here it tells you player manager battle manager attack chosen as attack, which tells us it's going to switch to state 1. It tells us when the player attacked, what the enemy HP is now. Then the enemy went and attacked, and then it took away 40 or 8 HP. Right now we have it overriding our HP as 50. We haven't connected it here yet, which we'll do later on. And now it's telling us it's the player's turn again. So we can attack again, and we can see it's still continuing on. Now let's press defend. Alright, so from here it says that the action chosen was defend, right? Because that's what we pressed. Okay. Now if you look at our player HP, it's taking 8 HP off each time now when the enemy attacks. Now here that the enemy attacked, it only took off 4. We went from 34 to 30. So now we know that the half is working, which is good. So let's attack. We're going to attack one more time. And now it takes us back to our dungeon scene. So again, because I didn't start this from the town, okay, like I was talking about in the previous video, because I didn't start this from the town initially and go through all the ropes, and I just went and chose to run the current scene, it went back to our dungeon in this little corner area, which is the origin point of the root node of the dungeon. So if I go to the dungeon, here's the root node, and I named it world, but if I look at it in 3D and zoom in on it, you're going to see that is actually the point of which the player is actually spawning to afterwards, and that's just because I chose to start from the current scene versus running the project. So but this code, the battle manager, because it's so long, where is it, will be in the description. Alright, and then if you guys want to write it out, feel free to write it out. If you want to just copy and paste it, you can. Just make sure that if you copy and paste it, that you follow the same naming convention that I have, and that everything's kind of loaded where it needs to be. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole lot of issues with game breaks and stuff if the paths are not exactly the same. If you've done anything different, you need to make sure that you change things accordingly. Alright. The next video, I gotta figure out what we're gonna do next. I think I'm gonna start working on the inventory. That way we can later on come back and where is it? Oops. And hello, and get this item. Then we can later come back and get this item button working. And then lastly, we'll get the flee button working, and that'll be it for now with the battle system. But in order to get the item button working, I'm gonna need an inventory with some items in it that we can use. So that'll be what we'll do in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next one.